This is the MSI MAG Tomahawk DDR4 edition. Is this the best bang for the buck DDR4 Z690 motherboard, or does it just fall behind the rest? Let's find out. What's up guys, welcome back to another GigaGeek video, and today I'll be reviewing this MSI MAG Z690 Tomahawk DDR4 edition. I'm going to be doing an unboxing and a small overview. Now, let's begin. Now let's look at some of the main features on this motherboard, starting off with the PCIe slots. So on the top slot we have a PCIe 5.0 slot. This is a new slot. No GPU actually takes advantage of it, but once new GPUs come out, you'll be able to utilize that slot. There is one PCIe X1 3.0 slot, and there's two more PCIe 3.0 X4 slots. You can put in a full graphics card in here, but it's wired up to only be X4. For storage, we have 6 SATA 6 gigabit per second SATA ports. There's 4 on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 2 on the side. For PCIe M.2 support, we have 3 slots that support PCIe 4.0, and there's 1 slot that supports PCIe 3.0. For memory, this motherboard supports up to 128 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, and the max speed is up to 5200 megahertz. That's close to even some DDR5 RAM stick speeds. It's pretty crazy. The socket here is Intel's 12th gen 1700 socket. It supports Intel's 12th gen lineup of CPUs like the 12900K and 12700K, and it supports the standard mounting as well. The power delivery on this motherboard is a massive 18-phase VRM, which is even suitable for like an i9 12900K. So for the heatsinks, MSI really went out of their way. They made sure the heatsinks are nice and big, so there's a lot of surface area to make sure the VRM stays nice and cool. Now let's take a closer look on the connectors of this motherboard. So starting off at the bottom, we have our front panel audio connector for your case audio. After that, we have a clear CMOS jumper. This is for if there are any issues with overclocking your RAM or your CPU, you can reset the CMOS through here. After that, we have 2 ARGB connectors to hook up RGB fans and ARGB LED strips. After that, we have 2 PWM fan connectors for case fans. So here we have a Thunderbolt add-on card connector, so if you want to add Thunderbolt support to your case, that'll be possible. Next up to that, we have 2 USB 2.0 connectors for front panel connectors. And then here we have 4 SATA connectors like I was talking about earlier. These are SATA 6 gigabit per second, so these will work with standard hard drives and standard 2.5-inch SSDs. Here we have another PWM fan connector, and yeah. So moving on, we have another 2 SATA 6 gigabit per second ports for a total of 6 total. And then now we have a USB-C connector for front panel connectors, obviously, a USB 3.0 header, a 24-pin connector to send juice to our entire motherboard, and lastly, we're finishing off with another PWM fan connector. So here we have an RGB connector and an ARGB connector. The ARGB connector only works with ARGB devices, and the RGB connector only works with RGB devices. RGB devices can only be one color at once. ARGB can be different colors at once. After that, we have 2 PWM fan connectors, and finishing it off, we have 2 8-pin connectors for our CPU. We're not done yet though, we have even more connectors. So right here we have an HDMI and a DisplayPort. These are good if you're running integrated graphics or you just want to troubleshoot. After that, we have a flash BIOS button. We have 2 USB 2s and 2 USB 3s, one of which is if you want to flash your BIOS, you plug in your USB right into here and you click this button and it'll flash the BIOS for you. Now moving on to even more connectors, we have 2 USB 3s, another USB 3, a USB Type-C, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, which is totally overkill, but it's really fun to have. We have Wi-Fi 6 capability, and then lastly, we have all these audio ports. Now let's move on to the extra features! They're completely unnecessary for most people. Okay, starting off, we have MSI's extended heatsink design. This is meant to keep the VRM cool. It sounds a little bit of a gimmick, but if you're a really hard overclocker, I mean, this is for you. Moving on to some even more extra cooling features. We have some really high performance M.2 heatsinks. These will make sure higher end SSDs will be nice and cool. Lower end SSDs don't really need these heatsinks because they run cooler, but it's nice to have. MSI claims that there's a robust, clean audio chipset, which basically provides better audio right here. It's great for maybe people who do some light sound design or music editing. So there's one more extra feature I actually really want to talk about. I've never seen this on any motherboard before, but some newbies might make this mistake and they might scratch their motherboard all over the case, and in some really bad circumstances, it can lead to the motherboard not working at all. So what MSI has done, they've created these circles that are basically like keep out zones, so that when you put your motherboard in, you're extra careful on where you're placing your motherboard. So now let's just talk about what I think about this motherboard. So this motherboard is really good for those enthusiasts who want the best bang for the buck. Z690 right now is still relatively expensive, so it's priced around $299, which isn't cheap at all, but it saves you the cost of going with DDR5, which is extremely rare right now. Some kits that are 32 gigabytes are going for like $1,000 on eBay, which is completely absurd. It has a really nice design. MSI did a really good job with this. I like how a lot of motherboards incorporate this design through like the entire motherboard, so it gives like a more even look to it. All these lines look really cool, and then it's nice and blacked out, so this would go well with like an air cooler like the Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 4. It's an all black stealth cooler. It looks really cool. Maybe even like the Kraken Z73 AIO. That's an all black cooler as well, and other black AIOs and coolers would look really good with this. Would pair really good with this motherboard. But yeah, that wraps up my thoughts. Now let's go into the outro. Oh yeah, that wraps this video up. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment down below, like the video, subscribe, do all that stuff. Leave me some feedback in the comment section down below. Tell me what I can do better, what you liked about this video, and some more of that stuff. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.